Right, so you want to start off by opening paint.net. And then you'll have your paper. You want to go up the top. Try and zoom in for you. Up the top to image, and you want to go canvas size and click that. It'll then bring this up. With this bit here that I've highlighted in blue, the width you want to set to 21 centimeters. Make sure this is in centimeters. And this one here you want to set to 29.7, and then click OK. Then that sets the screen to A4 paper for you, if you can see that. And then if you go onto this box and click this little plus here, go add layer. So you create a layer on top of that background. And then what we do, sorry it's a bit wobbly, if I can set you up, we open the file that we want, which is the polar bear one. Let me just set you up so you can see the screen better. There we go. Right, once you've got it, you want to zoom out one so that you've just got the page that you want, and then on my keyboard I press a different button. Might be different on yours, so I press this one, the Windows one, Shift and S, and that then screenshots my screen. You might just have screenshot, but then you want to highlight this, which I'm not sure if you could do on yours. It might just screenshot the whole page. If it does, that's not a problem, because we're going to edit it in a minute. So we go back onto paint.net and we paste it. So I press Control V, which is a quick edit button for pasting. So you could probably do that as well. So Control and V on the keyboard, which will paste it on there. Then if you hold Control and scroll forwards with your mouse, it'll zoom in. So I'm not sure if I can show you that. Let's see if I can show you. So I press Control and I scroll forwards and it zooms in, or scroll back, keep holding the button and it'll scroll out. Okay, so we want to scroll forwards, and then, sorry, I'm just realigning you again, and then scroll right in, so you're really close to it, and you want to drag this over to the edge. Once you're at the edge, near enough, you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard to go up and across. See that? So it's right at the edge then. Can you see? I'm moving it up and down, so you can then have it exact. Want to scroll out again using Control and scroll out on your mouse. Slide across, drag it out again, and we're just going to take this bottom, take this little bottom one, see the little bottom circle, we're just going to drag that right out. So again, we want to make sure all the edge of that page is out. As you can see, it's dragged it over here. So we're just going to move that back over again, go down to the bottom and drag it out again. Okay, can you see that? It's then covered the whole page. So the whole back end's on the page. It doesn't matter if these are overlining, because if you then go on this little square here. Can you see where I am? There. You can then click anywhere outside of this little dotted line and it takes it off for you. Okay, so that's that backing done. So again, we want to go add layer, and then we want to go back onto our design that we've chosen, where we got our backing from, and we want to find extra bits that we want. So I would like, if we go to the top, hold Control and zoom in again. It's a quicker way of zooming in and out rather than using the plus or minus on here. Again, print the screen with whatever buttons you've got, and I want to nab the little polar bears in this one. So I've now screenshotted that. Again, your screenshot might be different. So this time, if it's different and it screenshots a whole lot, you just paste it onto here. So Control V, and it's pasted it. You can drag this anywhere, and what you're going to do is you're going to go over to your tools on the edge. I'll zoom in so you can see it. Tools on the edge, you want this one. Again, it'll highlight it in blue. Just click outside of that area. What I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight inside this square because I don't want the outer bit. So let's see if I can do that. There. So I've highlighted the bits I want. If you can't get it quite accurate, if you come over here, click on this one, move selection. Click on that, go back over to your image, and you can just move the edges to where you'd like it. Okay, so you can be a bit more accurate and specific. So like, let's take this down because I don't want that much. Okay, so, and then you go Control C to copy that blue selection that you've highlighted. Go down here, add another layer, and then the layer 3 is the one with all of it. So click on layer 3 and then click the X, and it deletes that layer. Don't worry, because we haven't lost what we've selected. So you go back onto layer 4, the top layer, and you press Control V. So it's just pasted it back there, the bit that I selected. Right. So now I'm going to drag that, just drag it down the bottom somewhere. And don't worry, because it doesn't blend into the bottom layer. So it won't affect the bottom layer of your card. So what I'm now going to do is I've clicked back on that little blue square. It's called Rectangle Select. So the top one, if you can see my cursor there. I'll zoom in just so you can see. So that one again, click it. And I'm just going to click outside that box to deselect it. Right, now I've done that, I'm going to Control and scroll in because I want to zoom in. And obviously just let go of the Control and move up and down to get where you want it on the page to see. If you can see that, I've zoomed in a little bit too far, but sorry, Mum. There we go. Right. Now, if you go over to where your layer box is, I just want to see this top layer that I've just added. So I'm going to untick this layer and untick this layer. So I can then see just that layer because I want to be a bit more fussy with it and get rid of the backing. So in order to do this, I go over to here and I click this little magic wand. Once you click the magic wand, you can then click the background. And see it's highlighted too much. We then go up here to where it says the percentage. And I want to lower the percentage. It needs to be a bit lower. Oh, it's took too much. So there's a little plus button here. So I'm just going to click it a few times. Still clicking it. And then see it's took too much. So we're going to minus it again. So it's just selected that area. And we press delete on your keyboard and it's got rid of it. Again, do it on this side and press delete. You don't have to alter the tolerance on that bar once you've got it to where you need it. So we've delete again. Oh, it's selected a bit of the polar bear, so we go up to the tolerance up here. And I'm just going to minus it. Oh, up once, twice, 3 times. And can you see that it's only grabbing what I need? So you've got to look at both things, see what it's doing. Again, keep it on the tolerance I've got it on. Select that and delete. Just click that and click delete. Oh, it's selected too much to what I want. So go up here, click the minus. I'm going to zoom you out while I'm clicking the minus so you can see what it's doing down the bottom. So minus. Still selected the bear that I want. Right, and that's that. So click delete. And this little bit here that I would like to get rid of, it's too close a shade to the actual polar bears and that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over here, click on this, which is a rubber tool, eraser. I'm going to click on this, which is the size of it. I want it quite big, so I'm going to go 55, and look, that's quite big enough size for me. And you can set the hardness as well. So if you wanted like a faded rub out, less. If you want a full rub out, more. So then I'm just going to rub out the little extra bits around it that it hasn't managed to pick up. If you can see that, I'll zoom you in a little bit more. Oh, maybe not. I don't think it's going to zoom in anymore. Okay, so I'll just take you down here. See? So it's just taking off what I need. Now, there is a little hack. So, say this bit, you couldn't see it very well, or you don't know what's still left there and you want to get rid of it all. If you go over here and you click add a layer, this extra layer you've just put in, drag underneath that one, stay on that layer, go back over here, go on fill, and then I'm going to pick a total weird colour. So I normally pick red if it's all light colours or all dark, and I'm just going to fill the background. Can you see? Now all the little bits have popped up that I haven't managed to rub out, that I couldn't see before. So go back over here, go on to the layer I'm editing that I want to get rid of bits off of. Go back over here to my rubber, and then rub out the little bits. So I can be a bit more fussy with it, and I know I'm a bit more accurate, and it's not going to affect my next layer. Does that make sense? Just realign you. Right, I'm just going to zoom in so I can see what I'm doing a bit better and be a bit more accurate, because I don't want to get rid of any of the bits I don't want to. So I'm just going to be, I'm not going to be as fussy down the bottom. Okay, so there we are. If I zoom you back out, you'll see what I've now done. Oh, there we are. So I've zoomed you out. Right. So, as you can see, there's my page. And I've got the polar bears just how I want them. So you can now go over to where you filled in your layer, your red layer, over here. So I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to delete it because I don't need it anymore. And now I can add these back in so I can view them. And as you can see, they've all appeared. So now you want to click, I want to go back onto my top layer. Let me zoom you out for a moment. Go back onto my top layer. I'm going to go over here and select that rectangle tool again. So I've got my rectangle tool. I'm now going to, you can highlight outside the area, so I'm going to highlight from here to here. Go back over here. And I'm going to click on this tool, which then allows me to move that box around. Sorry, something's popped up. Hold on. Get off the screen. Oh. How do I minimise that? I don't know what I've clicked on. I don't want you up, so. How do I close that? Oh, there we go. Gone. Right. So, sorry, Mum. Now I've highlighted that. And I've clicked this little button here. It will allow me to move this layer around. So obviously on my top layer I've only got these polar bears, so that's why I've highlighted just that area, because I don't need to highlight anymore. There's nothing else behind there, so I can now click and drag that around, so you can drag it to where you want it. So I'm just going to leave it there for now in the corner like I did before. I'm going to go on the rectangle tool and click off, so it just stops highlighting that area. Right, I'm going to add another layer now, because I want to put the line in where the middle of the paper is, like I did before to show you. So I've added the layer, so we're on the top layer. And I'm going to go on to, let me zoom you out a little bit. Actually, I need to zoom you in so you can see what I'm clicking on. I'm going to go on this symbol, which is just lines. If you come up the top, you've got all the settings for that. So brush width, we want to set it to 1 because we only want the line thickness as 1, because we don't really want to see it when it's printed. We just need to know where to fold. Style, keep it on that. It's just solid line, flat. Solid line, you can set it to dashes or whatever, but I'm going to keep it solid, flat, and a solid colour as well. So what I need to do is I need to come down the bottom to the colour chart and select black, otherwise it will come out red because that's the colour I've got at the minute. So we select the black and it's now black. Right, on the edge, if you can see here, you can see where my mouse is, there's the ruler. So half 21 is 10.5. So we want to go to, let me just count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got half a notch each one. So yeah, so 10. Sorry, I weren't showing you. I was just counting. So on here you want to go to 10 that first notch, because that's 0.5. So you can click anywhere on the screen. See, I'm off of my paper. It doesn't matter. You can hold it, drag it across. Okay. And what I normally do is, obviously I've not shown you because I've zoomed out at the minute. So I've let go of that and it's now made the line. But I want to zoom in. I like to zoom in and be bit more accurate. So leave it there so it's still got the dots, and I'm just going to press delete. Is it going to do it? Probably not. Okay, it's not going to do it. So another way, rather than pressing delete, Control Z, which is undo. It's just a quicker way of doing it, so it's took that line out. Or you can press undo on there, but it's easier to Control Z, which would take away the last thing you've done. Right, so if I zoom out for you now. Oh, sorry, I took the focus out of it. Is it going to focus? There we go. Got my hand in the way. Oh, sorry. More fingers and thumbs today. Right, I'm Control and scrolling with the mouse, as you can see. So on the side here, it's zoomed in. So we want to scroll up. So we're at that 10 and a notch. And make that line. And now we're in more. We can be more accurate as well. There we go. See, it's a lot straighter now. You won't see it. So if I zoom you in, it's a hell of a lot straighter than it was before, because before it was wonky. It was at an angle. To zoom in, you need to be more accurate in order to get it. So we've done that. We've added our line in. If I can zoom you out, sorry. Right, let's zoom you out. Right. Now we've done the line, click anywhere on the page elsewhere, and it'll click off of it. That line's in. Right. I'm going to add the final layer. So I'm going to press this little add button down the bottom again. Add new layer. Over here. Well, you couldn't see that. Hold on. Let's take that off. Let me do it again. I'll zoom you in. Down this bottom corner, add layer. So our 5th layer. Well, 6th, technically. Right. Then I'm going to go back onto our sheet where our design is. And I liked the look of... Where is it? Ah, here it is. I like these, didn't I? So, again, I hold the Windows button, Shift and S, which screenshots it. And I can fussy pick where I want the screenshot. Again, yours might not do that. If it doesn't, don't worry. It screenshot the whole thing. And I'll show you in a second how to, like, sort that out if it does screenshot the whole screen. I'll show you all that in a moment. So we're going to go back onto paint.net. Here's my page. I'm going to Control V, and there's my snow, my snowy building. I'm just going to, so at the minute I can drag it round because it's on this symbol, remember? So that means I can drag the selected box round. So now I've got that, I want to make it bigger. So I'm going to grab the corner circle and I'm just going to drag it. And you can move it wherever you like. So I'm just going to drag it to there. Okay. And then I'm going to go to the square selection, click off the screen. And it's unselected it. So, as you can see, my polar bears are now underneath it, which I don't want them underneath it. So we go over to layers, and my polar bears are on layer, well, they both say 4. So the last layer I did was that line. The one before that is the polar bears, and if you look closely, you can see there is my polar bears in the corner. So that's the layer we want, so we select it. Once we've selected it, hold down the click button and just drag it up. So you want it, this is the top layer. So if you can see, it's now popped it on top. Okay? Right, as before, this is too big, doesn't look right, don't want it there. So we're going to go selection tool. Doesn't matter, you can highlight all the screen if you really wanted to, if you weren't sure. So select it, and highlight it, click on this one, allows us to move it. I'm going to move it over to here. And as you can see, it's out of the screen because of how far I've selected it. That doesn't matter. I want to grab the corner and I'm just going to shrink it down to whatever size I want it. If you're not sure, let go, drag it to the position you want and go for the corner again and drag it. And I want them just sitting also, if you're not happy with how accurate it is, go on your keyboard, on the arrow keys, and you can do it one notch at a time. Can you see that? It's moving over slightly because I'm using the keys. So I can manipulate it to where I want. So I want it there. Sorry, let me align you again. I think I need to invest in a better stand. I've got a better one somewhere. Need to find it. Right. Again, go to the square, click out the square, and there you have it. There is your polar bears where you want them. And I'm just going to zoom you out. Zoom you out. I'm going to hold control, slide back in the middle notch just so I can have a look at my artwork. Oh dear. Look at that, it's not in the middle. What did I do wrong? Can you see? My line's not in the middle. So, why is that not in the middle? I know why. It's done the length wrong. Okay, so I'm going to get my calculator up. It's 27.9, the height. Done it wrong. So do 27.9 divided by 2. 13.95. So we go over to layers. Don't know if you can see. Use this to slide up and down. This layer here is my line. You might not be able to see it. So you can always click on this tick and it'll make it disappear. So you know what it is. You see that? So I've deselected it, it's disappeared. So I know that layer is for just the line. So go to my selective tool, highlight just that line, go up here to this tool so I can move it, and if you look on the edge, I don't know if you can see that, can you see there's a black notch here, and that's exactly where my black line is. So we want to take it down to 13.95. So 1 is 2, so from 10, 2 notches is 1 centimetre. Oh, sorry. So that's 0.5 and that's 1. So 2, 3, 0.95. So that's 0.5. We're going to go about there. I'm just going to stretch it out because I moved it over. If I press the up arrow, let me just test something. Up arrow. Okay. Ignore what I said. Okay, we're going to do this again. So I've cocked it up a bit so control. No, that's not going to work. So now I've selected it. Just press delete. It's going to get rid of it. What I'm going to do, come over here. That layer is the line. Drag it up. So sometimes you might have to scroll up and then drag it the final bit. So I've done that. It's now top layer. I'm going to come over here. Select the line tool again. Draw my line across. Make sure it's straight. again, I've done it wrong. So I'm just going to delete. I'm just going to zoom in, Control, and scroll forwards. If you get confused with any of this, just ring me. And I'm going to drag from one end of the paper. Can you see it's at an angle? It will. You will know when it's a straight line, because it won't. There you go. See, it's straight line now. It's very thin. So I'll let go of that. I'm just going to zoom in just to double check. I'm going to get rid of that. Sorry. Let me just redo it. The more you zoom in, the more accurate you can be. Obviously, because it's where I'm folding, I want it fairly accurate. Where am I going? Too far. There we go. Right. Okay, done it. Right. Now it's just the line. And we haven't touched anything. It's still got the dots on it. Use your arrow keys on the side. And press down. And we want to go... if you can see on, you won't be able to see on the side. So you can be more accurate, is give us bigger sizes. So we want 13.5, 0.95. So there's 12. That middle line there be 13, and there's 14. So 13.95 is going to be about here where my mouse is. So what we do on the keyboard, press the down arrow. Keep pressing till we get about there. I don't think there's any way of making it really, really accurate. You could if you used a box, but it's a bit more in depth. I want to try and keep it simple for you. I know I've cocked up a bit, but there we are. We're about there. So that's fine. Just going to zoom you out for a minute. Right. Do the little rectangle tool up here, click it, and it unselect that. If I zoom out, you can now see that's more or less the middle. But I now have an issue because I'm overhanging. So what I'm going to do, if we go over to our layers, and layer 5 again, if we tick that, make sure it's that layer. See, it is. But I want to keep the polar bears in proportion. So what I'm going to do is layer 4 here. As you can see, is my polar bears because they're disappearing. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see better. So if I trying to get you all in, if I click this, can you see now? It's now getting rid of my polar bears, and this layer here is that castle, if you can see. So if I click this layer where my polar bears is, and I click this little symbol here with the purple arrow, it's going to flatten it onto the next layer. So what that does is my polar bears are now on the same layer as that castle. So it's all one layer rather than two, which I want. Because we're now going to highlight using our rectangle tool that we clicked on. Highlight the whole area. Go back up here to this symbol, click it, and that's now not going to allow us to manipulate this area that I've highlighted. So I'm going to drag the top corner, and I'm just going to drag it down. Obviously not too much because I don't want it to be too small, but if you can see there, I've just dragged it below that line, and I'll keep it in proportion. I like it quite thick, it looks better, takes up more of the page. Okay, again, come up to this tool, unselect it. So there we have it. And now what we can do, you can just print that. So if I go File and Print, it'll print all the layers together, so you don't have to worry about that. It's not going to not print each layer, it'll print all the layers is one, so it'll print exactly what you can see here. If I like the look of it, start again. If I like the look of it and I don't want to manipulate it again, click on this layer and click merge layer down, which is this purple one here. So I'm merging it together, and then this layer 2 is the backing paper, and now this layer 5 is the line, the polar bears, and this castle, all on one layer. So now if I try to move something, it's going to drag the whole lot. It's not going to, like, basically it was fussy cut before, now it's not. So that's fine. So I'm going to now take layer 5 with all the bits, and I'm going to merge it onto my backing paper. So now it's joined in with all this backing paper as well. Okay, so it's all one piece. And now, as I said before, if you want to add Merry Christmas or whatnot, I'm going to add a new layer again on top of all of them. I'm going to go over here to this T, this text. I'm going to go up the top. Let's pick a nice fancy writing. So I like the look of this one. It's quite fancy, I like that one. And the size, let's go with 18. I quite like 18. So then we go to where we want it. So I had it in the corner. Click where we want it. If you can see it's got the flashing line. So now we can just start typing. So I'm going to put Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. And as you can see, it's too small. Way too small. So we can go up to here, to the size, and just make it bigger. So I'm going to try 28. Still too small. I'm going to try 72. And as you can see, that's made it a hell of a lot bigger. But now it's out my paper, which is fine. So if you can see this little cross arrow symbol, you can use that to drag it around. So I want the Christmas underneath the Merry. So I'm going to just click here. And again, you can use your arrow keys to move across to the writing. If you can see that, I'm using the arrow keys. Move back and forwards like you do on Word. Don't click off of it, because once you click off of it, you have to start this whole process again. And I'm just going to press enter. And it puts it underneath. Now, as you can see, it's from the left hand side. I want it from the middle, central. So up the top here, just click central like you would on Word. And it's centralised it. But again, another problem, this big gap. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this over to where I want it. Oh, it's still a little bit big, isn't it? So I'm just going to take it down a notch. So I'm going to go to my sizing. 48 is a bit small. So what you can do is, let's go 60. So you highlight that box, if you can see the size of it, highlight it. And I'm going to type 60 on my keyboard and press enter. There we are. Now it's the wording's at 60. Perfect. Just the size I want it. But as I said, this big gap, for me, it's an issue. Too much of a big gap. Don't like it. Again, we can now click off of our writing. Go up here. Get this tool. The square. I'm going to zoom in for this part. Just makes it a bit more accurate. If you can see. And we're going to select the writing. So I only want to select the bottom writing. So if you watch what I'm doing, I'm just going above that H. I don't want to go too far up because then it overlaps the top writing. When I move it, it overlaps this bit. Don't want that happening. So just above the area, go over here, click move selection, and it highlights it. Now, I want it to stay level. So I'm not touching the mouse. I want it to stay central with that Merry writing. So I'm using the keyboard. So I'm pressing the up arrow on the keyboard. If you can see, if you hold it down, it goes faster. And to me, that really doesn't look central. So I'm going to move it over to the left a little bit because I want it central. Can you see that? I've moved it over so it looks a bit more central now. And there we go. That's where I want it. And as you can see, I'm not overlapping that writing with with that box. Because if you overlap it, I'll show you. If you overlap it, look, my writing's disappearing. You don't want that happening. So you just keep it outside that box. And you can tab it once at a time with your up arrow. Just dab it. And you can see where that box is. So I'm going to zoom out now. Lovely. Right where I want it. Go to the selection box and click off. And there you have it. This is my finished card with the writing. And I'm not going to merge the writing layer down onto the other layer because I want to be able to change that writing if I want to in future. I can not have it on there, or I can change it to someone's name. I want to do that at a later date. That's fine. So I'm not going to merge the layer down. But when I go to print that Merry Christmas will be there because I've still got it on there. If you don't want it on there, you delete the layer like I showed you. Select the layer it's on and click the box with the little X to delete the layer. There you have it. Let me know if you have any issues. Oh, I was going to show you quickly how to, if your print screen's the whole screen. So I'll quickly show you that, if that's all right. Because it will just help you when you're trying to do it. So if I take you out back a bit. So I'm just going to open a new layer, a new page. So if you come up to the top here, I'm just going to click this blank sheet with a plus. And it creates a new page. And I'm going to set it, to be honest, you don't need to set it, just click OK. And it just give you a blank page. I'll show you why you don't need to set the boundaries. If you then go on to here, where you'd normally get it from, I'm going to scroll up. You're still zoomed in. Why is it not zooming out? Oh, there we go. No. Right. So, if this is the page you want, and you go print screen, and it does a full screen, so it's captured your whole screen, that's okay. Go on to paint.net on that blank page we've opened, click it, and up here, up the top here, can you see where I am? Up here is that blank page on a tab. Click Control V, and it asks you if you want to expand the canvas. You can't see, I'll zoom you in. So it says expand canvas, keep canvas size, or cancel. So I want to expand the canvas, which means it's not going to keep the paper that size. It expand it out to the size of our screenshot. Okay, so we expand canvas. Can you see that? No, because you're too far in. There you go. So our whole screenshot's here, if you can see. We want to go to our selective tool. Go to... I've got to try and level you out. Sorry, it's this thing. The phone's a bit heavy for it. Zoom in. While selected, look, you can hold control and scroll. So you can scroll in. Just going to grab it. You don't have to be specific on that corner. Grab this corner, and while keeping the left click button down, you can scroll down on the mouse. Don't let go of that button, Okay, and it will scroll down on the page, and then we can go to the bottom, then let go of the click button. See that? So I've now let go and it's now selected it. So if I zoom out for you, there you are. So we go Control curly K, or C, and it's copied that. Sorry, bloody screen. Right, Control C, and it's copied that selection we've made. You can then go onto your page. I'm going to create a new page just because obviously we've done that one. So ignore this bit. You'd go onto your page that you're working with, and you go Control V, and there you have it. See? And it's cut it to size 4:2. Okay, so that's a way to cut it out if it prints the whole screen. Okay, and this layer up here, that's your screenshot. You can just close that. Don't save it. Don't need it. And there you have it. There's your backing. Okay. Right. Let me know if you have any trouble.